You know that feeling deep inside when you know you're capable of more. When you feel that urge to get better, to push beyond your limits. It's that drive, that desire for improvement, that separates those who settle for average from those who go on to do extraordinary things. But here's the real truth. Improvement doesn't happen by accident. It takes effort, it takes commitment, and it takes a decision to show up every day with the mindset that you will get better. Today, we're diving into something that could change everything for you. The power of wanting to be better. What if I told you that small changes, daily actions, and the right mindset could completely transform your life? What if the path to your best self isn't about waiting for the perfect moment, but about making the decision today to be better than you were yesterday? I'm not talking about overnight success, but about the steady, consistent growth that compounds over time. And that's what I want to explore with you today. I'm going to show you how the desire to get better isn't just a dream, it's a plan. It's the first step in building a future you can be proud of. Stay with me because today you'll have clear, actionable steps you can start using right now to grow, improve, and unlock the best version of yourself. This is more than just motivation. It's the blueprint for lasting change. Ready to get better? Let's dive in. Number 1. The spark of improvement. Have you ever had a moment where you just knew deep down that you were capable of more? Maybe it hit you in the middle of a quiet evening or during a conversation, or even while watching someone else achieve greatness. That moment, my friends, is the spark of improvement. It's the beginning of something extraordinary. It's that feeling, that whisper inside, telling you that your life could be better. You could be better. And let me tell you, that spark is worth everything. You see, the desire to improve doesn't come to everyone, and it doesn't come every day. When it does, it's your responsibility to grab hold of it and fan it into a flame. Don't ignore it. Don't push it aside. That little voice inside you saying, I want more, I can be more, isn't just a passing thought. It's a gift. It's life calling you to step up and do something incredible. The question is, will you listen? Here's the truth. Improvement starts with the decision to change. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. And I'm not talking about making big, grand declarations. I'm not talking about overhauling your entire life overnight. No, it's much simpler than that. It's about deciding right here, right now, that you're going to get a little bit better every single day. Because you can. Improvement isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about taking that spark and nurturing it. It's about turning your potential into reality. One small step at a time. You might be wondering, where do I even start? Start by getting honest with yourself. Take a moment and look at where you are right now. Don't judge yourself. Just observe. What are you proud of? What could be better? What habits or routines are holding you back? This isn't about beating yourself up. It's about awareness. Because until you're aware of where you are, you can't figure out where you're going. Improvement starts with clarity, knowing what's working and what's not. Now, once you've got that clarity, the next step is making a commitment. And let me tell you something important. This isn't a commitment to anyone else. It's not for your boss, your partner, or even your kids. This is a commitment to you. Because nobody else can live your life for you. Nobody else can make you better. You've got to decide for yourself that you're worth the effort. And let me remind you, you are worth the effort. The spark of improvement isn't just about fixing what's wrong. It's about building on what's right. It's about realizing that you already have strengths, talents, and gifts that are waiting to be developed. Sometimes we get so focused on our weaknesses that we forget about our strengths. Don't do that. Take a moment and think about the things you're good at. Maybe you're a great listener, or you've got a knack for solving problems, or you're just really good at making people feel valued. Those are your starting points. Improvement doesn't mean starting from scratch. It means building on the foundation you already have. And here's something else to remember. Improvement isn't a straight path. It's not always easy, and it's not always comfortable. There will be days when you feel stuck, days when you feel like you're not making any progress. That's okay. That's part of the process. What matters is that you keep going. Don't let a bad day turn into a bad week, a bad month, or a bad year. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and take another step forward. Improvement isn't about never failing. It's about never giving up. I want to talk to you about something that often gets overlooked, the role of gratitude in improvement. It might sound simple, but it's powerful. When you're striving to get better, it's easy to focus on what you don't have or where you're falling short. But don't forget to take a step back and appreciate how far you've already come. Gratitude shifts your perspective. It reminds you of what's good in your life and gives you the energy to keep pushing forward. So be thankful for the spark of improvement. Be thankful for the opportunity to grow, because not everyone gets that chance. One of the most important things you can do is surround yourself with people who inspire you, people who challenge you to be better, people who believe in your potential even when you don't. You see, improvement isn't just about what you do, it's also about who you spend your time with. If you're around people who lift you up, who encourage you, who share your desire to grow, it's going to make the journey a whole lot easier. But if you're surrounded by negativity, by people who hold you back, it's time to make some changes. Your environment matters. Your relationships matter. Choose them wisely. And let's not forget about action. Because desire without action is just a dream. If you want to improve, you've got to take action. It doesn't have to be big. Start small. Maybe it's reading for 10 minutes a day. Maybe it's going for a walk instead of scrolling on your phone. Maybe it's reaching out to someone you admire and asking for advice. Whatever it is, take that first step. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates results. The spark of improvement is just the beginning. It's the start of a journey that can change your life. But remember, it's up to you to keep that spark alive. Feed it with small wins. Protect it from negativity. And most importantly, believe in yourself. Because when you have the desire to get better, when you commit to growing a little each day, there's nothing you can't achieve. So what will you do today to take that spark and turn it into a flame? What will you do to get just a little bit better than you were yesterday? The choice is yours. And let me tell you, it's a choice worth making. Because the best version of you is waiting just on the other side of that decision. Don't wait. Start now. Number 2, the power of self-reflection. When was the last time you truly sat down and reflected on your life? Not just to think about your day, not just to consider what you need to get done tomorrow, but to really look inward and ask yourself, who am I becoming? Am I headed in the right direction? Because here's the truth. Most people go through life on autopilot. They don't pause to reflect. They don't ask the hard questions. And that's why so many people wake up one day, feeling stuck, frustrated, or empty. But not you. Not today. Today we're going to talk about one of the most powerful tools for personal growth, self-reflection. And I promise you, if you lean into this, if you take this seriously, it will change your life. You see, self-reflection is where growth begins. It's the doorway to becoming the person you were meant to be. Without it, you're just going through the motions, hoping things will somehow get better. But with it, you gain clarity. You gain focus. You gain the power to take control of your life. And let me tell you, when you take control of your life, when you become intentional about who you are and where you're going, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Jim, I don't have time to sit around and reflect. I've got responsibilities. I've got bills to pay, work to do, a family to take care of. And I get it. Life is busy. But here's the thing. If you don't make time for self-reflection, you'll spend your life running in circles. You'll work hard, sure, but you won't know if you're working hard on the right things. You'll stay busy, but you won't know if you're moving in the direction that truly matters. Self-reflection isn't a luxury. It's a necessity, and it doesn't take hours or days. It starts with a few moments of honesty, a few moments of silence, where you look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I becoming the person I want to be? When you take the time to reflect, you give yourself a gift that most people never experience, self-awareness. And let me tell you, self-awareness is priceless. Because when you know yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, your dreams, you can start making choices that align with the person you want to become. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop chasing goals that don't fulfill you. And you start living a life that feels meaningful, purposeful, and true to who you are. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're driving a car. You're on the highway and you're moving fast. You're passing other cars, making good time, feeling productive. But here's the problem. You never check the map. You never stop to ask yourself if you're even on the right road. That's what life is like without self-reflection. You can work hard, you can stay busy. But if you don't stop and check the map, if you don't pause to reflect, you could be headed in the wrong direction. And the further you go, the harder it is to turn back. That's why self-reflection is so important. It's how you make sure you're on the right road. It's how you make sure your efforts are taking you closer to where you want to be, not further away. Now, self-reflection isn't always easy. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it forces you to confront things you'd rather avoid. Maybe you realize you've been holding on to a bad habit. Maybe you see that you've been making excuses instead of taking responsibility. Maybe you discover that you've been settling for less than you deserve. But here's the thing. Growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from honesty. It comes from looking at yourself with clear eyes and saying, this is where I am, and this is where I want to go. That kind of honesty might be uncomfortable, but it's also freeing. Because once you know the truth, you can do something about it. You can start making changes. You can start moving forward. So how do you start? How do you build the habit of self-reflection? It's simple, really. Start by carving out a little time each day. It doesn't have to be much. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you can manage. Find a quiet place. Turn off the distractions. And just think. Ask yourself a few key questions. What did I do well today? What could I have done better? Am I living in a way that aligns with my values? Am I moving closer to my goals? Or am I drifting away from them? These questions don't have to be complicated, but they do have to be honest. The more honest you are with yourself, the more powerful your reflection will be. And don't just reflect on the past. Use your reflections to shape the future. If you notice a habit that's holding you back, commit to changing it. If you see an opportunity you've been avoiding, take it. If you realize you've been neglecting an important relationship, reach out. Self-reflection isn't just about thinking. It's about acting. It's about using what you learn to become better, to grow, to move closer to the life you want to live. Let me share something personal. When I first started my journey, I wasn't where I wanted to be. I was frustrated. I was stuck. And I could have stayed that way. I could have kept going through the motions, pretending everything was fine, but I didn't. I took the time to reflect. I got honest with myself about what was working and what wasn't. And that honesty, as uncomfortable as it was, changed everything. It gave me the clarity I needed to make better decisions. It gave me the courage to take risks. And it gave me the confidence to keep going, even when the road was hard. That's the power of self-reflection. It's not just about knowing where you are. It's about finding the strength to get to where you want to be. So let me ask you again, when was the last time you truly reflected on your life? If it's been a while, I want to challenge you to start today. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. Just start. Take 5 minutes tonight or tomorrow morning and ask yourself the hard questions. Be honest with yourself. And then use what you learn to take one small step forward. Because that's how growth happens. One reflection, one step, one day at a time. You've got the spark inside you. You've got the desire to get better. And self-reflection is the key to unlocking your potential. So don't let another day go by without using it. Start now. Look inward. Get clear on who you are and where you're going. And then go out there and make it happen. Because your best life, the life you've always wanted, is waiting for you. All you have to do is take the first step. And that step starts with reflection. Number 3, surrounding yourself with the right people. Have you ever stopped to think about the kind of people you're spending your time with? The kind of energy, habits, and mindsets they bring into your life? Because here's the reality. The people around you have a tremendous influence on your life, on your goals, your mindset, and even your future. If you've got the desire to get better, to grow, to become everything you're capable of, then one of the most important things you need to do is surround yourself with the right people. And I'm not talking about people who are just nice to be around or who make you feel comfortable. I'm talking about people who inspire you, people who challenge you, people who bring out the very best in you. You see, one of the most powerful lessons I ever learned was this. You become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think about that for a moment. The 5 people you're closest to, whether it's your friends, your coworkers, your family, those people are shaping your life in ways you may not even realize. Their habits, their attitudes, their beliefs, their standards, they're all rubbing off on you every single day. And here's the big question you need to ask yourself. Are the people in my life helping me become better, or are they holding me back? That's a tough question to ask, but it's an essential one if you're serious about growth. Now let me make this clear. I'm not saying you should judge or criticize the people around you. That's not what this is about. It's about being honest with yourself about the kind of influence they're having on your life. Because here's the truth. If you're constantly around people who complain, who make excuses, who settle for mediocrity, it's only a matter of time before you start to pick up those habits yourself. On the other hand, if you're around people who are driven, who are optimistic, who are striving to improve themselves every day, you'll naturally start to rise to their level. That's the power of your environment. It can either lift you up or pull you down. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're trying to get in shape. You've got big goals, and you're ready to put in the work. But every time you're with your friends, they're sitting on the couch, eating junk food, and telling you it's pointless to even try. How long do you think you'll stay motivated? How long before their habits start to chip away at your resolve? Now imagine a different scenario. Imagine you're surrounded by people who are hitting the gym, eating healthy, and encouraging you every step of the way. People who push you to do one more rep, to stick to your plan, to stay committed even when it's hard. Which group do you think will help you reach your goals? It's obvious, isn't it? The right environment makes all the difference. And this doesn't just apply to fitness. It applies to every area of your life. Your career, your relationships, your personal growth. If you want to succeed, you need to surround yourself with people who are on the same path. People who share your values. People who challenge you to think bigger, to work harder, to aim higher. Because when you're around those kinds of people, something incredible happens. Their energy, their mindset, their habits, they start to rub off on you. They start to inspire you to become better. And before you know it, you're achieving things you never thought possible. But here's the thing. Finding the right people isn't always easy. Sometimes it means making tough choices. It means distancing yourself from people who are toxic or negative. Even if they've been in your life for a long time, it means seeking out new connections. Even if it feels uncomfortable or intimidating at first. But I promise you it's worth it. Because your future is too important to be shaped by the wrong influences. You deserve to be surrounded by people who believe in you, who support you, and who push you to reach your full potential. So how do you start? How do you find the right people to surround yourself with? It starts with clarity. You need to know who you want to become. What kind of person are you striving to be? What kind of values do you want to live by? What kind of goals are you working toward? When you're clear on those things, it becomes easier to recognize the people who align with your vision. And once you find those people, make the effort to build strong, meaningful relationships with them. Spend time with them, learn from them, support them in their own journey. Because when you surround yourself with the right people, it's not just about what they can do for you. It's about how you can grow together. Let me tell you a story. Early in my career, I met a mentor who completely changed the course of my life. He was a man who had achieved incredible success, not just in his business, but in his character, his relationships, his impact on others. And I'll never forget the first time we spoke. He looked me in the eye and said, "Jim, if you want things to get better for you, you've got to get better. If you want things to change, you've got to change." Those words hit me like a lightning bolt. And from that day on, I made it my mission to learn from him, to soak up his wisdom, to let his influence shape me into a better version of myself. And let me tell you, that decision changed everything. That's the power of surrounding yourself with the right people. And here's the best part. When you surround yourself with people who inspire you, you become someone who inspires others. Your growth, your energy, your commitment, it starts to ripple out into the world. You become the kind of person who lifts others up, who encourages them to chase their dreams, who shows them what's possible. And that, my friends, is how you create a life of impact. It's not just about what you achieve for yourself. It's about the legacy you leave for others. So let me ask you, who are you surrounding yourself with? Are they helping you become better, or are they holding you back? If you're not sure, take a moment to reflect. Think about the kind of energy and influence the people in your life are bringing into your world. And if you realize it's time for a change, don't be afraid to make it. Seek out the people who inspire you, who challenge you, who believe in you. Because when you surround yourself with the right people, you create an environment where growth is inevitable. And when growth is inevitable, success is just a matter of time. Your future is waiting for you. The person you're meant to be is waiting for you. And the right people can help you get there. So don't wait. Start today. Take a step towards surrounding yourself with the kind of people who bring out your best. Because when you do, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Number 4, the value of small, consistent steps. Have you ever felt stuck? Like no matter how much effort you put in, the progress you're hoping for seems so far away. It's one of the most frustrating feelings in the world, isn't it? But here's the truth. Real lasting success isn't about giant leaps or overnight changes. It's about the small, consistent steps we take every single day. It's about showing up even when it's hard and moving forward, inch by inch. And today I want to talk to you about the incredible power of small, consistent steps. Steps that might seem insignificant in the moment, but have the potential to completely transform your life. The first thing you need to understand is this. Success doesn't come in one big dramatic moment. It's not the grand gesture or the massive breakthrough that makes the difference. Success is built in the quiet moments, in the seemingly ordinary decisions you make every day. It's in choosing to get up an hour earlier to work on your goals. It's in choosing to read a chapter of that book, instead of scrolling through your phone. It's in choosing to make the tough call, to write that email, to take one small step forward when it would be easier to stay where you are. These small decisions, repeated consistently over time, create a ripple effect that can lead to extraordinary results. But here's the challenge. Those small steps don't always feel exciting. They don't always feel rewarding in the moment. When you're in the middle of it, putting in the effort day after day, it can feel like nothing is happening. You might be tempted to think, what's the point? Is this really making a difference? And that's where most people give up. They stop because they can't see the progress yet. But what they don't realize is that every small step, every tiny effort, is adding up behind the scenes. It's like planting seeds in a garden. You can't see them growing right away, but with time, those seeds will sprout. And before you know it, you'll have a beautiful harvest. Now let's get practical. What does it look like to take small, consistent steps in your own life? It starts with clarity. You've got to know where you're going. What's the goal you're working toward? What's the vision you have for your life? Without clarity, it's easy to get distracted or discouraged. But when you have a clear vision, you can break it down into small, manageable actions. Let's say your goal is to get in better shape. You don't have to run a marathon on day one. Start with a 10-minute walk. Do it every day. Build the habit. Or maybe you want to start a business. You don't have to launch a massive company overnight. Start by researching your idea. Write down your plan. Take one step at a time. The key is to focus on progress, not perfection. It's not about doing everything perfectly from the start. It's about getting started and staying consistent. And let me tell you, consistency is a game changer. You might not see the results right away, but if you stick with it, day after day, week after week, the progress will come. And when it does, it will feel so much sweeter because you'll know you earned it. You'll know it was the result of your commitment, your discipline, your refusal to give up. But let's talk about something else, something just as important. Along the way, you're going to face setbacks. You're going to have days when you mess up, when you don't follow through, when it feels like you're back at square one. And that's okay. Setbacks are part of the process. What matters is how you respond to them. Don't let one bad day turn into a bad week, or a bad month, or a reason to quit. When you stumble, get back up. Remind yourself why you started. Focus on the next step, no matter how small it might be, because every step forward, no matter how small, is still progress. Let me share something personal with you. When I first started working toward my goals, I was impatient. I wanted results, and I wanted them fast. But life doesn't work that way. I had to learn the value of patience, of persistence, of sticking with the process even when it felt slow. And you know what? The things I've achieved in my life didn't happen because of one big dramatic moment. They happened because of the small, consistent steps I took over time. And if I can do it, so can you. So what's holding you back? Is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it the voice in your head telling you that your efforts don't matter? Whatever it is, I want you to let it go. I want you to believe in the power of small steps. Because here's the thing. Every step you take, no matter how small, is a step toward becoming the person you want to be. It's a step toward the life you deserve. And when you look back one day, you'll see how far you've come, and you'll be grateful that you didn't give up. Let me leave you with this. Your dreams are worth it. Your goals are worth it. You are worth it. Don't underestimate the power of small, consistent steps. They might not seem like much today, but over time, they can lead to a life that exceeds your wildest expectations. So start today. Take one step, then another, and another. Keep going. Even when it's hard, keep going. Even when it feels slow. Because the life you're building is worth every ounce of effort you put in. And I promise you, if you stay consistent, if you keep taking those small steps, you'll achieve things you never thought possible. You'll look back and realize that every step was worth it. Now go out there and take the next one. Your future is waiting for you. Number 5, learning from great minds. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to achieve so much more than others? It's not because they're lucky, and it's not because they're born with more talent or opportunity. It's because they're willing to learn. They make the decision every single day to open their minds, to seek out wisdom, and to embrace the lessons life has to offer. Learning from great minds, those who've walked the path before us, is one of the most powerful choices you can make. It can transform your perspective, inspire your actions, and completely change the trajectory of your life. Think about it. Every single person you admire, whether it's a leader, an innovator, or someone who's achieved remarkable success, has left behind a trail of knowledge and wisdom. It's all out there waiting for you to pick it up. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to struggle blindly through life, hoping to figure it all out on your own. You can tap into the minds of those who've already done it. You can stand on the shoulders of giants and see further than you ever thought possible. But let me tell you something important. Learning from great minds isn't just about soaking up their words or nodding along with their ideas. It's about applying what you learn. It's about taking the principles they've lived by and weaving them into the fabric of your own life. Because knowledge without action, it's useless. It's potential, wasted. If you're going to learn, you have to commit to putting that learning into practice. You have to turn inspiration into transformation. Here's what I want you to understand. Great minds come in many forms. They could be authors, speakers, philosophers, mentors, or even people in your own life who've quietly achieved incredible things. The key is to seek them out and pay attention. Read their books, listen to their words, study their lives. Ask yourself, what can I learn from their journey? What can I take from their experiences and use in my own? And don't just look for the success stories. Learn from their failures too. Some of the greatest lessons you'll ever find come from understanding what went wrong and how they overcame it. Now let's talk about something you might not hear often enough. Learning from great minds doesn't mean idolizing them. It doesn't mean putting them on a pedestal and believing they're somehow superhuman. They're not. They're just people. People who made choices, took risks, and committed to growth. And if they can do it, so can you. The purpose of learning from great minds isn't to feel small in comparison. It's to remind yourself of what's possible. It's to light a fire inside you and push you to become the best version of yourself. Here's another thing I want you to remember. Learning is a lifelong process. It doesn't end when you graduate from school or reach a certain age. In fact, the moment you stop learning is the moment you stop growing. The world is constantly changing, and so should you. Great minds are always evolving, always adapting, always looking for ways to improve. That's the mindset you need to adopt. Be curious. Be hungry. Never settle for what you already know when there's so much more to discover. Let me share something with you. One of the greatest lessons I ever learned came from reading the works of great thinkers and leaders. I realized that the principles of success are universal. They don't change based on who you are or where you come from. Hard work, discipline, focus, persistence, these are the building blocks of achievement. And you'll find them echoed in the words of every great mind, no matter the field. But here's the catch. You have to take those principles and make them your own. You have to live them, breathe them, and let them guide your actions every day. Now let's get practical. How do you start learning from great minds? The first step is to be intentional. Don't just consume information passively. Seek it out with purpose. Identify the areas of your life where you want to grow, and then find the people who've mastered those areas. If you want to improve your health, study the habits of athletes and wellness experts. If you want to build wealth, learn from entrepreneurs and financial leaders. If you want to strengthen your relationships, listen to those who've cultivated deep, meaningful connections. Whatever it is, there's someone out there who's already walked that path. Learn from them. But don't stop there. Take what you learn and put it into action. Experiment. Try new things. See what works for you and what doesn't. And don't be afraid to fail. Failure is part of the process. It's how you refine your approach and get closer to success. Remember, even the greatest minds made mistakes along the way. The difference is, they didn't let those mistakes define them. They used them as stepping stones to greater achievements. One more thing, surround yourself with people who inspire you. They don't have to be famous or well-known. They just have to challenge you to think bigger, to aim higher, to push beyond your comfort zone. The people you spend time with have a huge influence on your mindset and your actions. So choose wisely. Seek out mentors, friends, and colleagues who will encourage your growth and hold you accountable to your potential. Let me leave you with this. Learning from great minds is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. It's an investment in your future, in your dreams, in the person you're becoming. But remember, learning is only the beginning. What matters most is what you do with that knowledge. So take what you've learned, apply it with courage and determination, and watch as your life begins to change. The path has been paved for you by those who came before. Now it's your turn to walk it. And if you stay committed, if you keep learning and growing, I promise you this, you'll go further than you ever imagined. The greatness you admire in others, it's already inside you. It's time to bring it to life. Number 6, turning knowledge into action. Do you know what separates those who dream of success from those who achieve it? It's not just their ability to dream big or set goals. It's their ability to take action. Knowing what to do is one thing, but doing it, that's where the magic happens. That's where transformation begins. You can read every book, attend every seminar, and listen to every motivational speech. But unless you act on what you've learned, nothing changes. Knowledge, on its own, is not power. It's potential. Action is what turns that potential into power. Let me ask you something. How many times have you come across a great idea, felt inspired to try something new, and then done nothing? It's easy to do, isn't it? Life gets busy, excuses creep in, and before you know it, the idea fades. And that's the danger of staying in a state of learning without action. It creates a gap between where you are and where you want to be. That gap is only closed by doing. So let's talk about what it really means to turn knowledge into action. It starts with intention. You have to decide right now that you're not just going to listen or learn, you're going to apply. The moment you hear an idea that resonates with you, that sparks something inside you, make a commitment to act on it. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. Let me tell you, the perfect moment doesn't exist. Ready doesn't come before action, it comes after. But here's the thing, action doesn't have to be big or dramatic. Sometimes the smallest steps lead to the biggest changes. Let's say you read a book on health and fitness, and you're inspired to take better care of your body. The action doesn't have to be running a marathon tomorrow. It could be as simple as drinking more water today, or taking a 10-minute walk after dinner. Small, consistent actions build momentum. And momentum, that's your best friend on the journey to success. Now, I know what you might be thinking. What if I don't do it perfectly? What if I fail? Let me tell you something. You will fail. It's part of the process. But failure isn't the end. It's feedback. Every time you try and stumble, you're learning. You're growing. You're getting closer to figuring out what works. The only real failure is not trying at all. So don't let the fear of imperfection hold you back. Progress beats perfection every time. Let's get real for a moment. Turning knowledge into action isn't always easy. It takes effort, it takes discipline, and it takes courage to step outside of what's comfortable. But here's the reward. Every time you take action, you're building a habit. You're training yourself to be a doer, not just a thinker. And once you build that habit, it becomes second nature. Acting on your goals and ideas becomes who you are, not just something you occasionally do. And here's another thing. Action creates clarity. You don't have to have all the answers before you start. Sometimes the only way to figure out what works is to dive in and start experimenting. The path becomes clearer as you walk it. That's why waiting until you have everything figured out is a mistake. Life rewards those who move, those who take steps forward, even when they're not sure exactly where those steps will lead. Let me tell you a quick story. There was a young man who came to me once, frustrated because he wasn't seeing progress in his life. He told me about all the books he'd read, all the seminars he'd attended, and all the advice he'd gathered. When I asked him what he'd done with all that knowledge, he looked at me blankly. That was the problem. He was stuck in a cycle of learning but never doing. So I gave him one piece of advice. Pick one thing, just one, and act on it. That simple shift from consuming to creating, from thinking to doing, changed everything for him. Here's what I want you to take away from that story. The ideas and knowledge you gather are seeds. They have incredible potential, but they won't grow unless you plant them. Planting them means taking action, watering them with effort, and nurturing them with persistence. That's how you see results. That's how you grow into the person you're meant to be. Now I want you to think about something. What's one idea, one goal, or one dream you've been sitting on? Maybe it's something you've been thinking about for weeks, months, or even years. What would happen if, starting today, you took just one small step toward it? Imagine where you could be in a week, a month, a year. The truth is, the time will pass anyway. You can either spend it wishing, or you can spend it doing. The choice is yours. Here's a challenge for you. Take action today. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Pick one thing you've been meaning to do, one thing you know will move you closer to your goals, and do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be done. Because action, no matter how small, has a ripple effect. One step leads to another, and before you know it, you've built momentum. And let me tell you, once you start taking action, something incredible happens. You begin to believe in yourself. You realize that you're capable of more than you thought. You see progress, and that progress fuels your confidence. It's a cycle, a positive, powerful cycle that starts with a single decision to act. So here's my message to you. Don't let your dreams stay dreams. Don't let your knowledge sit unused. Take what you've learned, take what's inside you, and put it into motion. Because when you do, you'll discover that the life you've always wanted is within your reach. It's not out there waiting for someone else to claim it. It's here waiting for you to take action. So what are you waiting for? Start today. Start now. You'll be amazed at what you can achieve. Number 7. Building better habits. Do you know what shapes your life more than your talents, your circumstances, or even your goals? It's your habits. The small, consistent actions you take every single day determine the trajectory of your life. Good habits, built intentionally, can transform you into someone you never thought you could be. And bad habits, they can quietly steal away your potential. If you want to change your life, you start by changing your habits. Now here's the thing about habits. They're not about willpower or motivation. Those come and go. Habits are about systems. They're about building routines that work for you, even on the days you don't feel like showing up. And let me tell you, those days will come. There will be times when the last thing you want to do is take action. But if you've built the right habits, they'll carry you through. That's the power of habits. They take the guesswork out of success. Think about this. Every habit you have is either a step toward the life you want or a step away from it. There's no standing still. Each time you hit snooze, instead of getting up to start your day, each time you choose distraction over focus, you're making a choice, and those small choices add up. They may not seem like much in the moment, but over time they define who you become. That's why building better habits isn't optional if you want to live an extraordinary life. It's essential. Let me share something personal. Years ago, I realized that if I wanted to achieve more, I had to become more disciplined in my daily life. So I made a decision. I was going to start my mornings with purpose. I wasn't going to let the day control me. I was going to control the day. I started small. I set an alarm and got up at the same time every morning. I spent the first 30 minutes reading something that fed my mind. Then I planned my day. That simple routine, done consistently, changed everything. It gave me clarity, focus, and momentum. And it all started with a small habit. Here's the good news. Building better habits doesn't require you to overhaul your life overnight. In fact, trying to do too much at once can set you up for failure. The key is to start small. So small that it feels almost effortless. Let's say you want to get healthier. Instead of committing to a 2-hour workout every day, start with 10 minutes. Instead of cutting out every unhealthy food, begin by drinking an extra glass of water. Small wins build confidence. They make the process sustainable. And as you stack those wins, the results start to compound. But let's get honest for a moment. Building habits isn't always easy, especially in the beginning. You're going to face resistance from within and from the world around you. Your mind will come up with excuses. You'll feel tempted to go back to what's comfortable. That's where discipline comes in. Discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing the right thing, not the easy thing. And the more you practice discipline, the stronger it becomes. One of the most powerful ways to build better habits is to make them part of your identity. Instead of saying, I'm trying to exercise, say, I'm the kind of person who takes care of my body. Instead of saying, I'm trying to save money, say, I'm the kind of person who makes smart financial choices. When your habits align with your identity, they become natural. They become part of who you are, not just something you do. Another important piece of the puzzle is your environment. Your surroundings have a massive impact on your habits. If you want to read more, put a book on your nightstand instead of your phone. If you want to eat healthier, stock your kitchen with nourishing foods and keep the junk out of sight. Set yourself up for success by creating an environment that supports your goals. Make it easy to do the right thing and harder to do the wrong thing. Accountability is another game changer. Share your goals with someone you trust. Let them know what habits you're working on and ask them to check in with you. Knowing that someone else is rooting for you and that they'll ask about your progress can be a powerful motivator. But here's the thing, ultimately you're responsible for your habits. No one else can do the work for you. Accountability is a tool, but the real work happens when you decide to take ownership of your choices. Now let's talk about what happens when you slip up. Because you will. You'll miss a workout, eat something you didn't plan, or fall back into an old pattern. And when that happens, it's easy to feel like you've failed. But let me tell you, one slip up doesn't define you. What matters is how quickly you get back on track. Don't let a bad day turn into a bad week. Learn from the slip, adjust, and keep moving forward. Progress isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Here's what I want you to remember. Your habits are the foundation of your future. If you build strong, positive habits, they'll support you as you pursue your goals. They'll give you the structure and discipline you need to keep going, even when life gets tough. And over time, those habits will become second nature. You won't have to think about them, they'll just be part of who you are. So ask yourself, what kind of habits do you want to build? What kind of person do you want to become? Because the habits you create today will shape the life you live tomorrow. Start small, stay consistent, and don't give up. You have the power to change your life, one habit at a time. And when you look back months or years from now, you'll see just how far those small, consistent actions have taken you. It all starts with a decision to build better habits and become the best version of yourself. Let's make that decision today. Number 8. Embracing discomfort for growth. Do you know what stands between you and the life you've always dreamed of? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not even your current circumstances. It's your willingness to embrace discomfort. Growth, real and lasting growth, doesn't happen when you're comfortable. It happens when you step into the unknown, when you challenge yourself, when you stretch beyond what feels safe. That's where the magic begins. That's where you transform. Here's something I want you to think about. Every person you admire, whether it's someone who's built a successful career, mastered a skill, or overcome incredible odds, has one thing in common. They faced discomfort head on. They didn't avoid it. They didn't shrink back. They leaned into it, knowing that discomfort isn't the enemy. It's the process. It's the proof that you're growing. But let's be honest, discomfort is tough. It's uncomfortable for a reason. It makes you question yourself. It makes you doubt whether you're capable. It can feel like you're walking uphill, carrying a heavy load, while everyone else seems to be coasting. That's where most people stop. They turn around. They go back to what's familiar, what's easy. But the people who keep going, even when it's hard, those are the ones who rise above. Those are the ones who discover just how strong they really are. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly challenged yourself? When was the last time you did something that scared you a little? Something that made you uncomfortable? Maybe it was speaking up in a meeting. Maybe it was starting a new project, or having a difficult conversation. Or maybe it's been a long time since you pushed yourself in any real way. If that's the case, I want you to know that it's never too late. You can start today. You can decide right now that you're ready to embrace discomfort, not as something to fear, but as something to welcome. Think about this. Every skill you've ever learned, every milestone you've ever reached, started with discomfort. Remember the first time you tried to ride a bike? You didn't just hop on and glide effortlessly. No, you wobbled. You fell. You scraped your knees. It wasn't easy, but you kept at it, and eventually you found your balance. That's the same process for everything in life. Whether you're learning a new skill, building a business, or improving yourself, it's going to feel awkward and messy at first. But if you stay with it, you'll find your rhythm. The truth is, we live in a world that values comfort. Everything around us is designed to make life easier, more convenient. And while there's nothing wrong with enjoying those comforts, they can also make us complacent. They can make us forget that growth doesn't happen in ease. It happens when we challenge ourselves, when we step outside of what feels comfortable and familiar. That's where we find our strength, our resilience, our potential. Now let me share something personal with you. There was a time in my life when I avoided discomfort. I wanted the rewards without the effort. I wanted the results without the struggle. But I learned the hard way that life doesn't work like that. If you want to grow, if you want to achieve, you have to be willing to get uncomfortable. You have to be willing to stretch yourself. And once I embraced that truth, everything changed. I stopped avoiding the hard things. I started leaning into them. And you know what? The more I did it, the stronger I became. The more confident I felt. And the more I realized that discomfort wasn't something to fear. It was something to value. Here's what I want you to understand. Embracing discomfort isn't about putting yourself in harm's way. It's not about making life harder just for the sake of it. It's about choosing the path of growth, even when it's not the easiest path. It's about saying, I'm willing to face this challenge because I know it will make me better. And when you approach life with that mindset, you become unstoppable. One of the best ways to start embracing discomfort is to reframe how you think about it. Instead of seeing it as something negative, See it as a sign that you're on the right track. If you're uncomfortable, it means you're growing. It means you're stretching beyond what you've done before. And that's exactly where you want to be. Growth isn't supposed to feel easy. It's supposed to challenge you. It's supposed to push you. That's how you become the person you're meant to be. Another important piece is to take small steps. You don't have to completely upend your life overnight. Start by doing one thing each day that takes you out of your comfort zone. Maybe it's trying something new. Maybe it's tackling a task you've been avoiding. Maybe it's having a conversation that feels difficult but necessary. Each time you face discomfort and move through it, you're building a muscle. You're proving to yourself that you can handle it. And with each step, you'll find that what once felt impossible starts to feel manageable. Then it becomes second nature. I want you to imagine the kind of person you'll become if you commit to this. Picture yourself a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Imagine how much stronger, wiser, and more capable you'll be because you chose to embrace the challenges. You'll look back and see how far you've come, and you'll realize that it was all worth it. Every difficult moment, every uncomfortable step, every challenge you faced, it all led you to a place you never thought you could reach. So my challenge to you is this: start today. Don't wait for the perfect moment, because it will never come. Decide right now that you're ready to embrace discomfort. Decide that you're willing to face the challenges, to stretch yourself, to grow into the person you were meant to be. You have everything you need within you. The strength, the courage, the determination. It's all there, waiting for you to use it. And when you do, you'll discover that the life you've always wanted isn't out of reach. It's closer than you think. All it takes is a willingness to step outside of your comfort zone and into your greatness. Let's start that journey together today. Number 9, staying grateful through the process. Gratitude changes everything. Let that sink in for a moment. It's not just a feel-good concept or something to do when life is going well. Gratitude is a powerful force that can transform your perspective, shift your energy, and fuel your progress toward becoming the best version of yourself. And here's the thing. It's not just about saying thank you when things are easy. It's about staying grateful through the process, even when the road feels rough, even when the challenges seem endless. Because gratitude, when practiced consistently, has the power to carry you through anything. I want you to think about where you are in your life right now. Maybe you're in a season of growth and things are going well. Or maybe you're in the middle of a storm and it feels like everything is working against you. Wherever you are, there's something to be grateful for. It might not seem obvious at first, especially if you're facing difficulties, but if you pause and look around, you'll find it. Gratitude isn't about ignoring the challenges. It's about acknowledging the good that exists alongside them. It's about saying, even in this, I can find something to be thankful for. When you stay grateful through the process, something amazing happens. You start to see possibilities where there were none before. You start to notice the small wins, the little moments of progress, the people who show up for you in ways you didn't expect. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present. And when you focus on what's present, you realize you have more resources, more opportunities, and more support than you thought. But let's be real. Staying grateful isn't always easy. When life feels hard, when you're struggling to make things work, it's easy to fall into frustration or resentment. It's easy to focus on what's wrong and let that consume you. That's why gratitude is a practice. It's something you choose to do, even when it's hard. It's waking up every day and deciding to look for the good. It's pausing in the middle of a tough moment and saying, what can I be thankful for right now? It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. Here's a truth that's changed my life. Gratitude amplifies everything good. When you focus on what you're grateful for, you create more of it. You start to notice opportunities you didn't see before. You start to attract people who align with your energy. And most importantly, you start to feel better about where you are and where you're going. Gratitude doesn't just change how you see the world. It changes how the world responds to you. When you're grateful, you're more open, more resilient, and more willing to keep moving forward. I've seen this play out in my own life so many times. There have been moments when I felt stuck, when nothing seemed to be going right. And in those moments, it was easy to focus on what wasn't working, to dwell on what I didn't have. But the times when I made the choice to focus on gratitude, everything shifted. I started to see the lessons in the challenges. I started to appreciate the people who supported me. And most importantly, I started to feel hope again. Gratitude didn't solve all my problems overnight, but it gave me the strength to keep going. And sometimes, that's all you need to keep going. One step at a time. Let me share something practical with you. Something you can start doing today. Take a moment every day to write down 3 things you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be big or life-changing. It can be as simple as having a roof over your head, a friend who checks in on you, or even a good cup of coffee. The point is to train your mind to notice the good, to focus on what you have instead of what you lack. And the more you do this, the more you'll find to be grateful for. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Another powerful way to practice gratitude is to express it. Tell the people in your life how much you appreciate them. Write a note, send a text, or have a conversation. Let them know what they mean to you. Not only will it make them feel good, but it'll also deepen your relationships and create more connection. Gratitude has a way of bringing people closer together, of reminding us that we're not alone on this journey. And let's not forget to be grateful for ourselves. So often we're our own worst critics. We focus on what we didn't do, what we should have done, or where we feel like we've fallen short. But what if instead we took a moment to appreciate our efforts, our resilience, and our growth? What if we said, I'm proud of how far I've come, and I'm grateful for the strength that's brought me here, because you deserve that. You deserve to recognize your own worth and to be grateful for the person you're becoming. Gratitude isn't just about feeling good. It's about creating a mindset that empowers you to keep growing, to keep learning, to keep moving forward. It's about choosing to see the good, even when life feels hard. And when you do that, you not only change how you experience life, you change what's possible for your future. So here's my challenge to you. Start today. Start right now. Take a moment to pause and ask yourself, what can I be grateful for in this moment? It doesn't have to be big or profound. It just has to be real. And then make it a habit. Practice gratitude every day, even on the days when it feels hard, especially on those days. Because it's in those moments that gratitude becomes your greatest strength. You have the power to transform your life, to create the future you've always dreamed of. And it starts with gratitude. It starts with choosing to focus on what you have, on what's good, on what's possible. You've got this. You're capable of so much more than you realize. And I'm here to remind you that the best is yet to come. Stay grateful, stay focused, and keep moving forward. Your journey is just beginning. Number 10. Committing to lifelong growth. The desire to grow and improve never ends. It's not a phase or a season. It's a lifelong commitment to becoming better, day by day. And when you embrace the truth that growth doesn't have an expiration date, everything changes. You begin to see that the work you do today is shaping the person you'll be tomorrow. That's what lifelong growth is all about. It's not about being perfect. It's about making progress every single day. You might be thinking, I've already done so much. I've worked hard to get to where I am. And that's true. You've made incredible strides, and that deserves recognition. But here's the thing. Just because you've made progress doesn't mean the journey ends there. The moment you think you've arrived is the moment you stop growing. Life doesn't pause. It doesn't wait for you to catch your breath. It moves forward. And if you want to keep up, you need to keep growing with it. So let me ask you this. Are you committed to lifelong growth? Are you ready to embrace the fact that learning, improving, and becoming better is not a short-term project? It's a lifelong adventure. Because here's the reality. Success isn't just a destination. It's a way of life, a mindset, a practice that continues to evolve, shift, and grow over time. The best part is, this doesn't have to be exhausting or overwhelming. It's about making small adjustments, adding a little more value to your life each day, and committing to the process, even when it gets tough. The truth is, growth doesn't happen in a straight line. You'll face setbacks, you'll make mistakes, you'll experience failure. But those moments aren't the end of the road. They're just stepping stones. The key is to never stop. You keep going, you keep learning, you keep moving forward. The idea of lifelong growth isn't just about reaching the next goal. It's about becoming a person who never stops striving for the next version of themselves. The person who looks at every challenge as an opportunity to level up, who sees every difficulty as a lesson, and who understands that growth doesn't happen in bursts. It happens in the small, consistent decisions you make every day. Now I want you to imagine something. Picture yourself 5 years from now. What does that person look like? How do they think? How do they act? What do they know that you don't know right now? The gap between where you are and where you want to be is filled with one thing: growth. And if you commit to growing for the next 5 years, there's no telling what you could accomplish. You might not even recognize the person you become. But here's the catch. You have to commit to the long haul. You can't be in and out of growth. You can't expect to see results in a few weeks or months and then stop. Lifelong growth is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's about sticking to the process, trusting that each step forward is building the foundation for something bigger. And the more you commit to this process, the more you'll see the impact it has on your life, on your mindset, your actions, and your success. Now, I understand that life gets busy. There are a million distractions, 1,000 things pulling at your attention, and it's easy to put growth on the back burner. But you have to remember that growth is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it weakens. The key to making growth a lifelong practice is to integrate it into your daily life. It's not about carving out hours of time for self-improvement. It's about making small, intentional choices every day that move you forward. Whether it's reading a book, practicing a skill, learning something new, or simply reflecting on how you can be better. These small actions compound over time. Think of growth like building a house. Each brick you lay is a small decision, a small step forward. You might not see the whole house come together at once, but after months and years of consistent work, you'll look around and realize you've built something solid, something meaningful. The same is true for your life. When you commit to lifelong growth, each small choice you make adds up to something far greater than the sum of its parts. And here's the best part. You get to decide what that growth looks like. You get to choose where you focus your energy. Are you growing in your relationships, in your career, in your health, in your mindset? There are endless areas in which you can continue to improve. And the beauty of it is that you can take ownership of your growth. It's your journey. And the choices you make along the way determine the path you'll take. But let me be clear. This doesn't mean that growth is always going to be easy. It's not about smooth sailing all the time. Sometimes growth comes with struggle. Sometimes it comes with failure. But let me tell you, those moments of struggle are what build your character. They shape you. They teach you resilience. They show you what you're capable of when you push through the hard times. It's in those moments that you learn who you truly are and what you're made of. So ask yourself right now, am I committed to lifelong growth? Am I ready to embrace the process, knowing that each day I show up, I'm getting better, I'm getting stronger, and I'm moving closer to the best version of myself? If the answer is yes, then I want you to make that commitment today. Because once you make that decision, once you say, I am going to grow for the rest of my life, everything changes. You'll approach challenges differently. You'll see opportunities where others see obstacles. You'll realize that there's no such thing as failure, only lessons. And the best part is, the more you commit to growth, the more you realize how much potential you truly have. You won't just be a better version of yourself. You'll be a whole new person, a person who is constantly evolving, always learning, and always improving. So make that commitment today and never stop. Because the moment you stop growing is the moment you stop living. Keep growing, keep learning, and keep moving forward. The journey is endless, and the rewards are immeasurable. Lifelong growth is the key to becoming everything you were meant to be. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for some big event to spark your growth. Start right now and commit to becoming better every single day, because your future self will thank you.